Welcome to our 5 on 5. I'm pleased to be joined by SOU President Rick Bailey joining us over Zoom today. Rick, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, thank you so much, Greg. It's great to be back with you. And if I may, let me just say to you and everyone at KOBI and all of your viewers, a very happy new year from all of us at SOU.
A beautiful white background you have there with the snow. It's gorgeous, as I can see in Ashland. Happy New Year to you as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
So this month, I believe it is, 2 years now that you've been at SOU as president. Forgive me, this might be the easiest question of your career, but what stands out to you most about your second year in Ashland?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. It's interesting. So yes, this Monday will be my 2-year anniversary. And I will tell you, I've been very reflective over the last few weeks, not just about the last year, but really about the last 2 years. You can almost kind of put them together. And the easy answer is to say, hey, we had this huge budget crisis and we overcame it. And I know that's probably the headline. But if I'm really, really thinking deeply about it, the thing about which I am most proud have to do with the partnerships and the collaborations and the coalitions that we built over the last 2 years. And I'll say this, not just outside. So outside the university, partnerships that we have with K-12 school districts from Ashland to Portland, partnerships that we strengthen with Rogue Community College and Klamath Community College and community colleges, not just across the state, but even in Northern California, partnerships with our colleague universities, partnerships with tribal entities, partnerships with city and county governments. The list goes on and on. I'm really, really proud of the strengthening relationships, but I'm also cognizant of these trusting relationships and coalitions that we have been forming within the university. And when I think about where we were 2 years ago, and the fact that right off the bat, we had a budget that was 20% underwater. I mean, that is so massive. And as we tried to start addressing that, there were so many people who said, and not in a negative way or not in a hateful way, but like, hey, Rick, what you're trying to do is impossible. It's going to be impossible to get out of this without declaring an emergency. It's going to be impossible without a loss of confidence. It's going to be impossible without fracturing all of these relationships. And yet, now on the other side of that, and not to say that it was easy, because it wasn't, but when I think about student leaders and faculty leaders and staff leaders and sharing governance partners and our 2 union partners and our board of trustees, all of these groups came together and started to build in a very trusting way. We're going to get through this together. That's the single thing I am most proud of, because there's no way we would have gotten through what we did without that. And so now I'm conscious of moving forward. Those are not relationships that you just put on the shelf now. That takes communication and caring and compassion. This is starting to sound like a Dr. Phil 5 on 5. But those are the things that I think we're going to be cognizant of and make sure that we don't take for granted moving forward.
Well, I am an armchair psychologist, so it's perfect for me. I'm very happy to do this. But with the realignment, obviously that's what you're referring to with the budget. There were layoffs, there were positions cut. How much of that is still active, like is pending, is something that we're doing for the next couple of years?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. So that is an ongoing process. I would say that we are still going to be in that process for likely another year to year and a half. A lot of that was done through incentivizations. So, people are kind of selecting an early retirement glide slope and incentivized to do that. But you're right. And we do have to take that moment to realize that there were people affected by that realignment who did not want to leave SOU and were still affected by that. And so that's a very sobering reality that we're conscious of, for sure.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll have much more with President Rick Bailey in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with SOU President Rick Bailey over Zoom with beautiful Ashland snowy hills and mountains behind him. So we talked about your first 2 years here this month. We're celebrating your 2-year birthday, anniversary, if you will. What about the next 2 years? What's your vision for what that looks like for SOU?
Yeah, it's a great question, Craig. I think when I think about the next 2 years, it's really about building the university that we want moving forward. The university that our students deserve and our community deserves. And so where the last 2 years really were, a lot of the oxygen in the room was taken up by, hey, how do we get out from under this budget cloud? I think the next 2 years are really about where are we going to invest to make sure that we're putting the institution on firm footing moving forward. and how do we build habits so that habits of accountability and everything else, so that we are taking precious resources, investing them wisely, and making sure that we aren't in a position like typically we are, and not just SOU, but every university every 5 or 6 years goes through some similar crisis. How do we build habits that keep us from being in that position 5 years from now? So that's on my shoulders, and I'm going to make sure that our team is thinking about it that way. And that means really being a lot more entrepreneurial, and all of the visions, the things that you and I have talked about in the past. How do we now take those from a dream and start dotting the I's and crossing the T's and bringing the partners in to really put that now into a place where we're taking action on it? And I think that's what the next 2 years are going to be characterized by.
What do you want from the community to help SOU?
Yeah, thanks for that. For me, the thing I'm most mindful of is that from Reading to Roseburg, we are your hometown university. And so every time we have community members who attend a performance from the SOU theater program, or attend a concert, or a lecture at the Hannon Library, or attend a sporting event and cheer on our student athletes. Anytime community members are active with us in those things, they are directly contributing and directly supporting our students and our university. So my ask for the community is just be involved. We are so excited to welcome you into this beautiful family, and we want you to be a part of our university community.
President Rick Bailey, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Craig. Great to be with you.
Okay, we'll be right back.